Hi everybody, it's Debbie at Basket Case Mama Fab Finds, and I am here today with there's a terrible delay in the video. Hopefully it won't show up in the end, but it is right now. Here today with a What Sold video. I'm so used to saying hauls that I can't even focus on words this morning. I'm still drinking coffee, and it's not even early today. I'm like into this late today because I had car things that I was picking up cars, so my car was at the shop. So anyway, this is actually from March because I'm slow to the game today, and I'm recording this. You're going to see it shortly after it's recorded, but it's like almost the end of April. So this is all that's sold in March, and when I say all, don't get too excited. Anyone who's doing this presently, I know there's some people that are doing fine, but most of us are experiencing this kind of horrific lull in things, and it's okay. I just kind of come to accept that, everything course corrects over time. So I'm just rolling with it right now. And I did not go in and I did not add the little amounts on this, so I'm going to tell you as I go on my notes in front of me because it's really not that much stuff. But it was okay. It was okay, but it wasn't stupendous. I would love to be able to come on one of these months and say, I had the most stupendous month. I had to do 3 videos. And sometimes at the end, everybody works for the fourth quarter, and sometimes at the end of the year, it does pick up significantly. But honestly, it's been a little slow. And I'm not really sourcing too much right now because I'm actually working on getting everything listed and kind of, focusing on that kind of stuff. So that's what's going on right now with me. And I'm working a lot on the other business, so or at least trying to. I spent the last 3 days deep in. So all sorts of things going on here with me. Hope everything's good with you guys. So let's get into it. So the first thing that sold in the month of March was this little collection of Calico Critter dollhouse food. We have some little mouse waffles or rabbit waffles and some corn on the cob and avocados and half peppers, potatoes, and pretzels. And this was all lotted together, and there's a fish. And it was listed for $15, and I did take an offer of $10 on it because I did have it for a little while. And honestly, most of the Calico stuff I've had, just about all of it is sold. I think I have maybe one more critter, and I might have a couple more little things of stuff, like small items from sets. So I just divvied these up. I had bought a lot of stuff and I just put them together kind of by what worked together and sold them like this. So these were teeny tiny. As you can see, they're not very big. And I mean teeny tiny. We're talking like the tip of my fingertip here. Like they're very small. So I ziplocked them up and that worked. This is a cow by a brand called Logo Bear. And he was so soft and sweet. And he was from 1987, so he was vintage, and he sold for an offer of $21. This was a thing of Pure Imports little glass sheep, and I bought them from my little thrift store, and I paid $5 for them. It was half price day, so they were priced $10, but I got them for $5. I did look them up at the store. Pier 1 stuff can do very well. So they sold for $29.97. And, I'll take it. That was, it was a decent profit after, even with $5 in. So these pictures are terrible, and I know it. But this little guy was in his plastic packaging. As you can see, he's a gun. He's made exclusively for the World Wildlife Federation, or the World Wildlife Fund, whichever you want to call it. So I tried my best to get good pictures, and I also didn't take 7 because this was listed so very long ago when I was just learning how to do things. And it did sell finally for $14.99. And I think this is so old that it didn't even have a date. For the last couple years, I've been putting in my SKU, the listing date, just so I can keep track of how long it's been listed. So that would have been very, very, very early on, over 3 years ago when I started doing this. So it was very, very, very old. The number was 400. give you an idea. I sold something else that was really old too. A couple things. Weird. It's weird because honestly, I don't know what eBay does half the time, and I was not promoting any of this stuff because I recently started promoting again, but I'm not pleased with having to do it. And I'm just going to see for the next couple months if it makes a difference. I'm not seeing a difference yet, or if it's just going to be everything that sells is going to now be promoted. So I only have one promoted listing to sell in this group because it was like the end of last month that I changed it. But, or maybe it was this month, early part of this month. But anyway, so these are not promoted. Part of that may be the sluggishness, you know, being punished by eBay for not doing their will. So we'll see, and I'll keep you posted on that. But for now, this was a Gymboree pink blanket, and it had little hearts on one side, as you can see, and it had this cute little sugar and spice kitty cat thing on it. I pick up blankets frequently if they're in really good condition and clean, not just quilts. Like handmade quilts, of course, do great. Some granny square Afghans can do really well, but baby blankets in particular. And I think I have a video on blankets too. You can check on my page on my YouTube. It's you know, telling you about different things, you know, and what they sell for. And I believe I did do one on blankets because there's a poo blanket. Actually, there's two poo blankets. Ironically, I have the one still. I have both of these in my possession that are currently hot sellers. The little ivory one is one I found at the thrift shop. My daughter had it as well. It's from the early 2000s, late 1990s. And it has a little poo with a honey pot at the bottom. And there are various versions of it. The one I had like the honey pot and like a bee flying around, but there's a few different embroidery parts on it. It's real small on the bottom corner. It has a satin edge. It's like a waffle knit kind of soft fabric. That one sold for $150. Now I have another one and it has a stain on it that I think there's formula like got on it or something. So it's got a stain on it. So that was hers. So of course I didn't sell that. But there's a quilt that was part of a bed set, like for your crib set. And there's the crib quilt that's bright, primary color, regular poo. The one is the old-fashioned poo on the blanket I was talking about. This is like the regular poo. And I actually picked one of those up years ago at a yard sale, and that was in great condition. And it was in her room when she was a baby and when she was a toddler. And it's still around my house someplace. And it's pretty well used. But those are also selling for like $100 right now. So definitely take a peruse through the baby blankets. Early on in my reselling career, I found two Martha Stewart like waffle knit receiving blankets at the Goodwill, and they both sold for I think around $70. So they're sometimes very inexpensive, and if you can find the right ones now, and I'm going to tell you right now, Goodwill, if you're listening, not every baby blanket is worth a lot of money. Most baby blankets are worth almost no money, okay? There are specific ones that are very old or vintage by specific brands that will sell for more, but not all of them. So don't think that we're just going to now make all blankets $10 because you won't sell them. That's not how this works. Okay? But I'm just, you know, that's my kudos. But anyway, for this one, it sold for $32. So not too terrible. And let's see, I think I paid $3. So that's a very good return. But that's not how it always goes. So you always got to look them up. But I did look that one up. This is a very cute little wall pocket, and it's ceramic. It is by Kay's Collection, and it was just pink, and it was cute, and as you can see, Kay Collection, and I think I paid just under $3 for it, and it sold for the $14.98 that you see on the screen. I need to look at the screen. I'm trying to look at the screen and talk to you and not look over there and look at the camera. And I haven't had enough coffee yet today because I was up early and I didn't sleep at all the night before. I don't know what was up with that, but I'm recovering from not feeling great and being tired. Anyway, this one is a Kelly Toy Sloth. He crinkles and his belly honks, and he's very cute, and he sold for $14.99. And this is one of those also I've had it a long time. The number's 235, which is old. And I overpaid for it, probably at a Goodwill when I bought it, or where I bought it from. But he, and you say there's only 4 pictures. This is again, like, the struggle is real here. But it's very funny because recently old stuff has been selling just randomly. So it's kind of funny. This is a little dandy duck. He had an orange chiffon bow. He was super cute. I think he might have squeaked as well. And this was Easter, of course. We were gearing up for Easter, the beginning of the month. So this one sold for $9 on an offer. And he was 50 cents at my little thrift store, so it's good. So this one is a Uniqlo two-tone sock tie. So what a sock tie is it's square at the bottom and it's knit. This one actually has a little bit of a diamond pattern in the weave, and it was burgundy on one end and it was purple on the other. So basically when you tied it, you could have, like, depending on where it is, this is tied purple, but if you did it right, you could tie it and have the burgundy showing. I just tie it for the pictures. So, but anyway, that's what it looks like. And there's the tag. And this was just an acrylic tie, but the knit ties do sell. Some for more than others. And this was one of those less than perfect ones. But hey, if you get them inexpensively, which I did, this was $1, so that's okay. So, and I took an offer of 10 on it. This is a World War II 474th Regimental Army shoulder patch, the arrowhead, and it has like this Viking looking ship here. And I bought a bunch of these from a reseller that was online on Whatnot, who sold things out of a storage unit, and she had like a big box of, well, big box, like a, you know, the square boxes you get from the post office. The word I'm groping for, the little like small ones. They're probably medium, I don't know, but they're not very big. But she had one of those filled with some old pins and some old Boy Scout patches and some old Army patches, and some of the stuff was her grandfather's and nobody wanted it, and some was stuff he had or whatever, because she was cleaning out a storage unit, and so she just lotted it all up, and I bought it. And I thought at the time, well, you know, that could be good, knowing nothing about them. Nothing at all. I do know some old Boy Scout and Girl Scout patches can be good. Knew nothing about military patches or pins. So it took a long time to go through them all and look them all up and figure out what they were and how much they were worth. But there were some really good things in there, and I probably have made 4 or 5 times what I paid for that box. So it was definitely worth my time. So sometimes things work out really well, but this one was listed for $45, and I did take an offer of $30, because as I said, I did well with these, so, you know, I'm able to have a little more wiggle room. But you just never know. You never know what you're going to figure out that's really good, and those were really good. So if you can get a deal on something like that at like a yard sale, I bought, I think 2 summers ago at a yard sale, a box, like mason jar full of Union pins from a Philadelphia local. And they were little teeny Union pins. I guess they were when they had their like Union meetings every year. You got a little pin, and there were a bunch of them in there. Some from the same year, some from different years. Back in the 70s, and I think the 70s and the 80s they were from. And I just kept, and I think he wanted $10 for the whole jar, maybe 15. But I went back and forth about buying them, and eventually we agreed on a price, and I want to say I paid around 10 for them. But I was really like, I'm probably going to get burnt, because at a yard sale, I generally don't whip my phone out and double check things. But there was something about them, and I did well with these pins from the military and from Boy Scouts and the patches. And there was just something nagging at me that I should get them. And they did sell, and they sold relatively quick, and I did get a good amount in return for my money. I want to say they sold for around $50 for the whole lot. So that's not bad, you know. And again, some of these things take a while to look up. So you're investing time into them, but you're also learning at the same time. So it's kind of worthwhile. Anyway, this is Michael Kors necktie. It's just a paisley jacquard. It was silk. It just was pretty. I don't pick this Michael Kors up anymore because it just doesn't move. You know, some of his stuff does, but it really doesn't sell fast at all. I certainly wouldn't pick up any of his ties because generally they're overpriced. And like this one was $3. Okay. So I did not make much money on this at all because I took a $10 offer. And I think even after shipping and all, I made around $7. And $7 adds up over time. But honestly, just not worth my time, truly, to take the pictures and to go all through all the munitions. It's just not. So, I just, I've learned, pick my battles, pick my products a little better, but it's very hard to tell what will sell. My husband and I marvel at the things that sell fast and sell for really a lot of money, and the things that take forever to sell that were really nice, and you would think they would have sold far faster. So it's very strange and peculiar. And I know there's like electronics and things that move very quickly. There's certain things that will sell. Super brands, some brands that sell very quickly, like Viore, I think it is, men's pants. They will move very quickly. Mother jeans, women's jeans, very quickly if you can find them. And I've never found them. I've looked for them for a long time. So there's certain things that move very fast. Lululemon used to sell very fast. It doesn't sell as fast as it used to, but it still sells pretty decently if you find the right pieces. I just found some the other day. I was leaving. There was nothing. They brought out a rack, and I found 3 pieces of Lululemon on the rack. 3. Now, they're all small, so they're going to take longer, but still found 3 pieces right away in great condition, and they're all worth good money. So some days it goes well, but not always. And I know people go to the bins and they find them all the time too. But again, you just don't know. Anyway, these were Echo camo shorts. They were listed for $25. I sent an offer out and they accepted for $22.50. So that's what they sold for. But these were nice, and some of the Echo stuff did well. So I picked them up, and then they took a long time to sell. So there you have it. You just don't know. And you always are asking yourself, well, did I overprice this? Now, I research everything, and I never usually price at the top of the price range, simply because it has to be pretty rare for that to work out for you. So I look at the lowest price, I look at the highest price, I look at where the bulk of them are selling, and I kind of make a decision. Do I want to sell? Is it worth, are there a lot listed? Is it worth going to the lower end of that, or going to the higher end of that, or just sticking in the middle and waiting it out? There's like a way you want to kind of do it. So you want to always look at the sell-through rates, which I'm terrible at and still terrible at. And I'm telling you, don't be like me with that. It really does matter, because the less that there are, the faster it will sell. I get it. But you just never know. You just, honestly, it's just such a confusing little thing sometimes. Anyway, this is a Cabbage Patch doll, for those that didn't know. And I can't imagine anyone didn't know. Anyway, this is a vintage one from 1991. And there's things you could do. So it had an LL2 head. That's what the face looks like here. It had orange hair. It was 13 inches. It was 1991. It was Hasbro. So all the things. But the number's on the back. So if you can get the number off the back, that tells them what head's on it. Lots of times off the tag, it'll tell you where it's made. But this was something called a Little Lullaby. So this body, the outfit stays on. It doesn't come off. She's got the cloth body. And she was in relatively good condition. She did have a bath, because the clothes needed a bath. So we put her in you put them into like a, my brain's not working, pillowcase, and just tie it closed and throw it in the wash, and then let it air dry. That's how we do it. And, lots of times I just, wash their faces, and if their bodies are clean, I just give them a spray with some like disinfectant to make sure that they're, not germy. But I don't necessarily throw them in the washing machine, because not all plush can go in the washing machine, okay? Things with pellets in them shouldn't go in there. Things with nuts in them should not go in there. Things that have papery fill and older plush should not go in there. Many plushes should not go in there. Now, sometimes you'll have no choice. They must get washed. I recently had a Commonwealth. It was vintage, and it had to go into the machine. It had to. It was filthy. It had to go in. There was no getting it clean by hand. And when I did, his head came apart from his body. So thankfully, it only cost me 50 cents. And, it's the risk you run. But so don't buy them expensive if they need a bath, because some of them don't survive the bath. But most of them do survive the bath if you put them in the bag. So, but look at them. they're really not supposed to be washed, then you have to decide. You can usually get them cleaned by hand, and I do. But this it was like a bear or something, and it had a suit on. So it was all, so there was just no getting around it. But if you can get around it, then you should get around it, is what I'm saying. Okay, so this was $45, and did she sell for $45? No, she sold for I took an offer of $40 on her, and so, and like I said, I think she cost $2, so it was like a $32 profit. So that's pretty good. Now, I don't pick up a lot of dolls, and I don't pick up a lot of Cabbage Patch dolls because they were mass produced. But the original, like 80s versions of them, some of them do very well. Boys and red hair tend to do well, or those of different ethnic origins other than white. Okay? So if you, depending on the doll, you should always look them up. But those are some keys that will help you if you just can't look them up, and it's red-haired, and it's from the 80s on the back. You're probably still going to make some money if you don't pick it up for too much. Okay? So anyway, this is an egg carousel, and this sold pretty quickly. I also got this at the little thrift shop on half price day. I paid $6 for it, and I looked at this, and I checked every balloon and every ear and every little thing on the table and every little bird. And do you see this bird over here? He's missing his tail. I didn't see it, and I don't know if it was there or if it fell off in the box, because it did have a box, and it did play. It played slowly, but it did play, and I just disclosed, and I showed the video, and I didn't want to overwind it, so I was really careful, and the lady was so pleased with it. But this tail thing bothered me, so I was able to fashion a new tail, because the tails on here, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but the tails are not, now this is all wood and all hand painted, but the tails are super thin. I mean, super thin shaved wood. And even the thinnest, like wood that you would use, like balsa wood, was so thick compared to the other towels. So I went to the thrift store, I got the stuff, I got the paint, got it all, got it ready to glue on, didn't like it. Now also, because of the way this is, because whatever fell off, it left a little residue, I didn't want to like mess with it too much. I didn't want to make it look like, make a mess of it. So I found some red, what's it called? The plastic that you use for like cutting in a crafting machine, like a silhouette or something like that, the vinyl. And I found the red vinyl. It was the perfect match, by the way, perfect. But I figured if it wasn't, I could just paint it. But I found the thing, and I was able to get the thing out, and I was able to put like a little piece of metal into it and glue it and put it back in the hole and trimmed it perfectly, and it was perfect. And I put little black marks on it so it looked like all the other tails, and it was perfect. It looked so good. I was so proud of how it turned out. It looked like it belonged there its whole life, and I was just like, it was just perfectly perfect, and I was so happy. So he has his tail now. I looked at this 15 times, did not see that bird was missing a tail, and I was looking, so I don't know, but I was so disappointed. And I just want to make sure he looked perfect on his way. So he was beautiful. He was made by MSR, German, and vintage, and he sold for $45. And it was so cute, and the lady was so happy, and I was so glad I was able to put the tail back on. So these are a pair of Christian Dior pajama pants. That is how it's spelled on the tag, by the way. They were like a purpley color, gray and red. It looked kind of purpley. And they had like the snap there and the drawstring, and they were worn. They were like in good condition. They weren't in great condition, but they were good condition. And they still had a lot of life left in them. And I picked them up for, I think, maybe $2, maybe $1, because it was half price day, because pajamas are cheap at the little thrift store. And they sold for $30. So that was decent, especially for pajamas. This is a fossil leather bag, and this is the second fossil I sold last month. I might have sold the other one this month. I don't know, but this is an embroidered fossil bag. I picked it up at I picked it up for $5.24. I know it's an odd amount, but I think it was 20% off at the expensive thrift store. And at the expensive thrift store, usually the purses that are like worth anything are way priced up, like $40, $50, $60. They're just way priced up. So they're just not worth it. I don't even look at them. I don't bother. I don't care. And half of them are not really worth anything. They just know the name, like Michael Kors. Oh, it's Michael Kors, so they price it up. And it's not even worth that much, certainly. But this happened to be hanging on a bunch that they were bringing out, and it was priced. I want to say like it was $6.99. So with the discount, it was like $5.24. Because they have like discount days, and it sold for $70, which is great. And not all fossils are created equal. Although if you do find the older ones with the keys still attached, they have like brass keys. Those can be worth pretty good money because those brass keys, people love them. And they're very hard to find. They get broken off, they fall off, they pull off, they get taken off because people don't like them banging into the purse or their hip all the time. So they get lost in some people use them for keychains, so they get lost in the mix a lot of times and don't remain with the bag. So anyway, this is a Babar elephant plush, and I picked it up at the Goodwill. I hemmed and hawed. But the one in the green suit seems to be the one that's worth it. And he has like stuff on his feet, so he will self-stand. He does need a little coercing to get him to self-stand, might I add, but he will self-stand. But Babar, for those that don't know, is a book, an elephant from a book, and he's sweet. And this is Yotoy was the person that made it, and the fabric was like velour, but it did sell for $40. And I want to say I paid like $5. Let me look here. $5. And for one plush, $5 is more than I ever pay. So this is a Naturecraft vintage figurine, Black Family. Little Torment was the name of it. It was numbered. It was so cute. The look on this mom's face. So if you don't understand, the little boy, she's trying to do laundry. The little boy has brought his frogs into the laundry room, and they're everywhere. There's one there. There's one there. So they're everywhere, and he's hiding, snickering, thinking he's like just so funny. And she's like, "Where are you? You are in so much trouble right now because you are messing with me." And you can just see her eyes, like, you are. I'm gonna whoop your butt when I find you. That's what's gonna happen right here. Anyway, I just loved it. It was in good condition. It did has, you can see like there's little spots on it where there's little paint loss places here and there. There also was in the back, I want to say, there was a place that had like a little chip in it or something. So anyway, I disclosed all the little places that, I took lots of pictures of this and did show all the places and showed the bottom of it. But there were a couple places that were a little, I don't even think it was a chip, but it was like a little piece of paint had come off someplace. I forget, it might have been in the front. But anyway, so I disclosed all that. So when the lady bought it, after she bought it, said, "Is there anything major wrong with it?" And so I told her, and I sent her some pictures of the little chips here and there where the paint had, like there was paint loss on it here and there. It was pictured, and I told her. And she says, "Is there any way you could fix it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, probably. Nothing that a Sharpie can't fix on the hair, but let me, I had some paint around, so let me go see what I got, and let me see if I can fix it." And I've got crafty talent, so I went through it, and I just touched up all the paint in the areas and all the places, and she was delighted. It looked good. So she was happy. It was easy. I helped her out. It was no big deal. So, and I got what I was asking for it. So good all day. So this is a gold brooch. It's an Anne Klein, and it sold for $12. And this is, I bought at a yard sale a couple years ago a bunch of Broadway pins, and this was in with the Broadway pins, like little, round pins and pins from shows. And they were all vintage from like the 90s. And this was a grease keychain, and it sold for, because it didn't sell for what it says up there, for $12. And again, that was something where I think I paid $5 for all of them, and I've made my money back. I made my money back on the very first pin that sold, was like $30 or $40. So yeah, it's been good all the time. This is an Adventure Planet little bear. He is like a teethy ring thing. This is what that looks like. Now, I don't pick a lot of things like this up, but this was cute and it was clean, and it sold for $10. This is a lug. Sleeper is the name of the style. It's a zip around toiletry case. So it's for like toothpaste and toothbrushes and that kind of things, or makeup brushes. And it sold for $15.55. And I want to say I paid like $2.25 for it. This is a vintage gold glitter acorn ornament. It was glass, and it sold for $13. I think I sent an offer out, so it probably sold for whatever the offer was I sent. This is a pink golf shirt. Wouldn't buy a pink golf shirt again. This is another one of those. Boy, was this old. The number was... Oh, I'm missing something here. I'll have to go find them in a minute. So this is sold on an offer for $11.70. And I also sold, I don't have a picture of it, but it was a pair of Vans sneakers. They were leopard print, and they were my daughter's, and they were the number 33 thing, the 33rd thing that I've ever listed, and they sold for $24.50. So I don't have a picture up, but they did sell. This is a vintage Vermont teddy bear. Cuddle Chunk was was the name. Great name. He was jointed. And he sold for $60. Did he sell for full? Yeah, he sold for $60. So this is, let's see if I can fix this. These were called Inspired Treasures. They were fabric, Easter, light blue embroidered bunny rabbit round placements. As you can see, the Lot of Force sold for $20. And I actually had somebody ask if I would take an offer and then ask were they fabric. And I said, yeah. And she said that wouldn't work because she had grandchildren. And literally the next day they sold. So I'm not sure if she just decided, oh, we'll just put the kids at a little table and I'll get them anyway. Or if someone else bought them. I have no idea. I didn't have a chance to go look, but I just thought it was funny. Like sometimes that happens. Like as soon as somebody asks, somebody else buys it. I had that happen to a couple things this month. So this one was a donkey plush, and this is by Lou Rankin and Friends. Now, I've sold other Lou Rankin things, and I'm going to say you probably should always look these up because they always seem to sell and sell quickly, which is weird because plush just doesn't do that usually. There's very rare you're going to sell something, boom, it's going to sell fast. But this sold pretty quickly. It was listed February 21st and sold in 30 days, literally on the 21st of March. So that's fast for plush, really, 30 days. So this was a donkey, and this is what it has on its paw. And I think I sold, I'm going to say a raccoon before. So it is vintage. Yeah, it does say vintage, and they are floppy. So if you see this Lou Rankin patch, I'm going to say if it's cheap, I would just grab it. If you're a yard sale and you want to look it up. But look them up because so far I think I've sold 3 of them, and they all sold very quickly. And for not bad money either. He sold for $23.75. This is a tall onion ball shaped vase. Okay, so in the irony of life as I know it, it sold for $8.99. It sold for my church because I help them out and I do stuff for them. And so it sold for my church, and it delivered, and the lady said, I think you sent the wrong vase. And I'm thinking, I know, I couldn't have sent the wrong vase. I don't have another vase. Yes, I did. There was an exact, almost very similar. It only had one band, but it was littler. And my husband had picked it up, and I was like, oh yeah, that's it. I mean, because there couldn't be 2, but there were. So I think I'm in the hole for that for a couple dollars because it didn't cost very much, and I had to have it return the other one. So shame on me. It happens. I think I have a return, like other than people returning clothing because it doesn't fit and things like that, but a return because I did something stupid. I want to say once a year is my return. I did something stupid thing, but yeah, it happens. It happens, and that was my mistake. So here's another weirdness. All right, so this is an Oi plush dog. His name is Mutza. He's a Macabini. These are little beanie type floppy animals, and it is the Macabini collectible by Oi. There's his name, Mutza. And they're different characters, and my daughter got one years ago when she was little as a gift for something or another. My daughter was raised Jewish. And it was a little something. So now, she doesn't live here. The little thing's been on my husband's desk for forever. So I listed it and it sold pretty quickly. And so when I saw this and he was in the, at the little inexpensive thrift store that I go to for, I think it was 50 cents or 25 cents. He might have been with the toys. So I picked him up because I figured he has tags too. And, why not? And he sold as well quickly. So if you see any of these little oi dogs, and they are in good condition, it didn't sell for a lot, but if you get them cheap, it wouldn't matter because this was $12.50, and at the end of the day, I probably made $10 on it. So that's not terrible. This is something that also belonged to my daughter. This was a Hannah Montana bear from the mid-2000s probably. Anyway, she had white glittery. She was Build-A-Bear, white glittery. She had the Hannah Montana thing on her foot. And apparently, right around the time that I listed this, there was a new Hannah Montana reboot thing that happened on some channel. And so, all of a sudden, people were interested in the bear. So, I had sent out, somebody had made an offer, lowball, and I sent back a 20% off. And it sold for $20. So, but if you have any Hannah Montana stuff, some of it might go for something now because she's hot again. I'm sure Miley's happy with this. So, there we go. I'm out of order. Am I out of order? I am out of order. There's weirdness happening in my list. Sorry, guys. So, this set of Calico Critters bunk beds sold for $13. And they were triplet beds, so they all had different colors. This one was missing a pillow, but they were all cute, and they stacked on top of each other, so that's what that was. This is the oldest thing, I think, other than those vans. This is a 051 is the number on this. And this was a Squishmallow because early on everybody was picking up Squishmallows and they told me I thought they were good. And yeah, no, they're not. Don't pick them up. There are some that are good, but most of them are not good. They're mass produced and like Disney stuff, just not worth it. But this one sold for an offer of $6.50. And I think I made like $1 something on it because it was rough. I have like one more to go. It's just rough. So this one is a modern baby giraffe. He is adorable. So in my early trying things of AI, some of these pictures were AI. Like, I think this one is. And if you notice, this one is, okay? And that's fine. But look, the marks are different on him. He has this long mark here. He does not have that. So the lady asked, hey, like, are they the same? Or do you have another one? And I'm like, oh no. And then when I look closely, sure enough, this one is also AI. So I told her no. I was just redoing pictures and brightening them up, and I was getting some stuff, and AI brightened it up, but they changed the picture slightly. So I did tell her this was the real one, and she was fine with that. But be careful of the AI pictures. They will fix it, but they might change it. So this was $16.47 is what it sold for. This, another thing I sold for the church, was a purple vase, 5 inches wide by 8 inches tall. It was just a pretty color, and it sold for $14.99. And then this is a Build-A-Bear Polar Bear from 2013, and it sold for an offer of $17. So as you see, not a lot gigantic stuff sales there, not a lot of stuff sold there, but we're plugging along. We're just plugging along. Look, February and March are notoriously slow anyway, so there's always going to be course corrections. Just waiting it out. That's sometimes if you can afford to wait it out, wait it out. If you can't afford to wait it out, move your stuff to another format or multiple formats, or work on a YouTube stream or something to build your business. And none of those things are necessarily easy, don't get me wrong, but there's other ways to make money and better ways. Like, even if you're just buying things that'll sell fast, a lot of resellers are doing that right now too. They're looking at they're making that gospel, the sell-through rate. If it doesn't sell within 30 days they're not buying it. And they're knowing their brands and they're learning their brands and they're spending their time looking up every single item and making sure it's going to sell in 30 days to 90 days. Now, how do you know that? If your sell-through rate is that there are more than double, 100% to 200% of the things that have above what are listed. So if there's 10 listed and 20, 30, 40, 30 sold, that's twice as many have sold as are listed. So therefore, or 20 sold. Therefore, you know that this is going to sell quickly because those 10 are going to be gone quickly and they're going to need more. So the more rare it is, the faster it's selling. That's what you're looking for. So 100 listed, 100 to 200 sold. That's your comfort zone right there. You need to buy that because you know it's going to sell fast. It doesn't have to be high money as long as there's profit involved, as long as it sells fast. So you could do that too. Now, all those things are different ways of looking at business, but it helped you. And this wasn't even supposed to be that kind of thing. But, you know, when you have a little bit of stuff, you really have to look at things differently and a little more organically. So I hope that helped. This is a way longer video than I thought it was going to be. I may have to reconsider. All right. But thanks for watching, guys. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, and the like button. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.